Welcome, my constant reader friends. I'm Tad, and this is Tad Reads Books and Stuff. All right, first off, let me do a quick update for my Shorty King project, Stephen King Skeleton Crew. I haven't even started reading it yet. I know it was supposed to have been read this month. I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, April is the #1 most busy, crazy time period in my real job, and I just was not able to, get to this book. I did actually, finish a good number of books this month, but I just wasn't able to get to this. So I'm going to have to add this to next month, and we're going to just have to do 2 Stephen King compilations next month to try to catch up. So I'm already behind on my Stephen King Shorty project. I also did read the next 6 chapters in Saga, and there should be a video up, or will be up soon, for my review of the last 6 chapters of this. This is book 3. Of course, I'm doing this as a read-along with Graz on the GKBC. Please check out his video of this. Oftentimes he does things that I don't do, so that's cool. Well, you can look that up. And I did finish, of course, The Road by Cormac McCarthy, and we will be doing a video shortly on this. I've also finished Wool. Mentioned before, kind of a read-along, not really. Kim on The Paper Traveler also is reading this book, so I decided to read it too. We'll talk about this. We'll do a video about this. And then last but not least was Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chabosky. And this is the book that we're going to talk about in this video. So let's get started. Let me give you the numbers real quick. Imaginary Friend. This was published in October of 2019. And my version, this hardback version, has 705 pages. Yeah, it's a pretty big book. On Goodreads currently, it has a 3.54 rating. Now, this is listed as supernatural horror. And that's fine. It definitely, just saying that it's supernatural horror kind of made me want to read it. Of course, because I'm a huge Stephen King fan, and he does a lot of supernatural horror. So I really was interested in reading this. I had mentioned before, I had heard mixed things about it. Either people really loved it or didn't, but I didn't read too much into it because I want to discover it for myself. Now it says here, #1 best-selling author of The Perks of Being a Wallflower. And if you read that book, it was a YA novel, coming-of-age kind of story. And Stephen Chabosky also wrote the movie adaptation and I guess directed the movie for that story. I don't know anything about it. And then, what was it, 14 years or something later, before he wrote this book? Interesting. Not a YA coming-of-age story at all. This is adult, a lot of adult themes in here. So at least I did go into this knowing that it was an adult book. So that was good. So let's start talking about it. I'm going to be honest right up front. This might be kind of a short video. You know how I start rambling when I start talking anyways, telling stories and stuff. But this is not what it is advertised to be. If you want to reach supernatural horror, by all means, read some Stephen King. This book starts out that way. Actually, really well. I'm reading this and I'm just immediately getting vibes of Stephen Graham Jones, or even a little Ramsey Campbell in there. It's interesting. It's well written. The characterizations I'm loving. I like this atmosphere he's setting. I'm in. I'm hook, line, and sinker. I'm in. I'm digging it. To about 200 pages. And then, oh my gosh, this thing fell off the table for me. And I'm glad I've taken some time away from it before I did this video, because let me tell you, if I did this video right after I read this book, there would be some hate spewing from my mouth. Yeah, this book, oh my goodness. So, where do I start? The problem I'm having with this book, there's a lot. And I'm going to try to explain what happened with me. I mean, it starts off with this woman, Kate, and her son, her young son, Christopher. And they're not in a good way. The father has passed away, and Kate is having difficulties with that and is making some poor decisions, not only in her work life, but in her social life, dating some bad characters, but a specifically bad character at this point when we start reading the book, to the point where they have to get away, they have to escape. He had been violent with her physically, and she just grabs Christopher and they run away. All right, so that was kind of interesting. We get to this new town. We're trying to establish ourselves. It's in Pennsylvania. And Christopher now has to go to a school, and he's kind of awkward. They're super poor. So his pants are too short for him. His clothing is not the best. Christopher maybe has some dyslexic issues. He has difficulty reading and things. Although he's a young, intelligent boy, he just has some awkwardness, some social problems, of course, for the situation he's been in. And he gravitates towards maybe some of the other losers, the Losers Club, right, that you will find in a school. Well, he goes off and he gets lost in the woods. And all right, here's where we go. So sometimes you can have, thinly veiled religious novels, and sometimes you have novels that are, flat out, religious novels, religious writing. This is veiled as a supernatural horror, and it's not. It is flat out a sermon on the rocks. It's his sermonizing for the next 500 pages of this novel. And that's not even the worst part for me. But after like about 200 pages, like I said, I realized, I went, oh my God. Yeah, this is what it is. Christopher, of course, Christ, disappears and is thought to be dead for 6 days, but miraculously is found or is risen on the 7th day by a girl whose name is Mary. Yeah, Mary eventually becomes pregnant. Yeah, although she never has sex. So, of course, she's the Virgin Mary. Everything is focused around the coming of Christmas, and this tree house where Christopher gets his gang of losers to build this tree house in the woods where he was lost, and he was met and was saved by this friend, this imaginary friend. Yeah. So th that's not the worst part. I'm not really pissed off because it became a sermon, and I don't really like preachy novels about religion. Of course, you know, any novel you read, science fiction for sure, is a lot of them is going to be some type of social commentary or something, which is fine. I enjoy that because I kind of know that going into this, but I really thought this was going to be this really cool horror story, and it turns out to be a religious novel. And I just didn't like it. There's good ways to do it, I think. I think there's bad ways to do it. I mean, for instance, see, I'm going to lose a lot of subscribers. I'm probably going to get hate messages for this. But if you're going to make a religious novel, that say it's a religious novel, I don't have any problems with it. You can do a crappy, you know, religious novel like, and here I'm going to do it, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I'm sorry, guys, if you are a fan of Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe. I probably it was because you read it when you were young and it was cool. I think C.S. Lewis is one of the worst writers I've ever... I can't even get through this series. I tried to read it to my son. I couldn't. Sorry. That's not even thinly veiled religious, and it's not written well. This at least is written well, but becomes not even thinly veiled as a religious novel. Or you could do something brilliant like A Canticle for Leibowitz and talk about religion in a really introspective, intelligent, thought-provoking type of way. Yeah, this doesn't do it. And not only that is, and it's not just that. I don't want you to think that I hate it because it's just a religious novel. But the writing was so good for 200 pages, and then it just went crazy. For instance, he describes the smell of the baseball glove leather whenever this character David is around. And that's cool, I understand that. But if you don't realize that the smell of baseball leather represents David, you will by the 87th time he mentions it. Same thing. The smell of tobacco reminds Christopher of his dead father. 100 freaking times later, yeah, I get that tobacco smell. You know, I mean, you can do things like that. Blue Moon is the song, but every time you hear a song, it's Blue Moon. You can do that once or twice in a novel. It's kind of cool, or bring it back later on in a novel. But to drive it down your throat oh my gosh, so many times, it just became so repetitive over and over. Different things too, like the treehouse, for instance. Let me tell you, oh my God, they're building a treehouse, but they're at the treehouse. Oh wait, we need something from the school, so let's go to the school. So they have their trials and travails as they're going to the school. They get to the school, they do the thing in school. Oh, we've got to get back to the treehouse. They go back to the tree house, but they have their problems as they go back to the tree house. They get the tree house once again. Oh, no, we need something else from the school. Let's go back to the school and get chased by the bat. It's just back over and over and over. The ending, I thought, okay, here it comes. Here's the climax. Oh, but it didn't end because, holy crap, there's still 150 pages left. Oh, it builds again. There's another climax. Oh, that wasn't the end. Psych, that wasn't the ending. Let's do it again. Multiple, like, what could have been endings, climaxing to this amazing scene, and then the scene falls apart. There's stuff that just drove me crazy. There's an instance where 2 times in the book, towards the end, back to back, Blizzard of the Century. Blizzard of the Century. I don't know where this guy is from, this Stephen Chabosky, but I don't know if he's ever been in a snowstorm before, because these are like epic snowstorms. So much snow, the whole town closes down. You can't get anywhere. Even the fire department, the ambulance, police, I mean, there's a sickness, a plague, or some type of sickness that is keeping people from working too. They're all trying to go to the hospital. But all of a sudden there's this car chase and they're flying around. But you just said that the blizzard was so bad nobody could even drive. But he mentions when the tire hit the pavement, we were off. And what? Nobody's sliding out of control? Or I sound like I'm going crazy, like I'm ranting on this novel. The main reason I am mad about this novel is he's a good writer. The writing style I loved. Like I said, I was digging it. I was into it. He's telling this really cool story, and then it became a sermon. He's standing up on stage in his robes preaching to me, and it was difficult. The last 500 pages, I rage read this. You know I don't DNF books, and I just could not wait to get to the end of this book. I'm sorry if you're a fan of Stephen Chabosky. I know a lot of people were fans because of the perks of being a wallflower, and read it when they were YA, and loved this book when it eventually came out as well. People mention it's similar to Stephen King. I don't think so. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop because I just really did not like this book. I just wish I would have known going in. But then again, I don't like knowing going in. I since have read some reviews of the book, and it's one or the other. Either people really hated it, or the people that liked it said, I don't understand why people hate this book. They don't give a reason why they like it. They just don't understand why people hate it. Although the people who hate it give tons of reasons. The repetitiveness, the poor endings, the ramming down your throat religious concepts in the book. I felt the same way. I'm sorry. I gave it a 1 star. I really wanted to love it, and I did for 200 pages. I was digging it. But anyways, I'm going to stop. That's my feelings on Imaginary Friend. I'm sorry if it offends you, but I got to keep it real. I always do. So, as always, if you find any entertaining value in my videos, maybe not this one, please like and subscribe. And as always, please write comments, even if they're bad, telling me off. That's fine. I understand. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Peace out.